When it comes to the Godzilla fandom, people are always matching up different kaijus from different continuities, and one of the most common versus debates is regarding the gigantic Monsterverse Godzilla, who will appear in the upcoming Godzilla x Kong installment, and the other being the early 2000s Final Wars Godzilla from the Millennium era, who fought a wide menagerie of ops single-handedly and faced off against the strongest monster in the universe, Kaiser Ghidorah, aka Monster X. Legendary Godzilla has seen his fair share of adversaries, from the Mutos in the first movie which he fancifully executed, to the life-wiping King Ghidorah that made supermassive storms, to the monstrous mech that is Mechagodzilla. But how would he fare against Final Wars Godzilla? Would he get utterly stomped, or would he come out on top? Well, in this video, I decided to go over feats, statements, and the like to decipher which of these two titans would come out as the victor. Let's begin with the thick boy, Legendary Godzilla, who is quite impressive since even before reaching his higher levels of power, he was already durable enough to survive a meteor impact that caused the Permian mass extinction. I don't think it's fair to say that he withstood the full collision head-on, but he was at least able to endure a significant level of damage. He'd also scale somewhat to King Ghidorah, who just by existing was creating thousands of thunderstorms, tornadoes, and other natural disasters, which would have eventually killed everything in the earth. I've actually done a calculation of how much energy King Ghidorah could have been releasing with his hurricane, and it can easily be calculated to being over 950 quintillion joules, or 225 gigatons, using CAPE, convective available potential energy, which allows us to calculate how much potential energy in the atmosphere is required to create a huge storm and maintain it. For reference, the nastiest storms have been recorded to having CAPE values of over 8,000 joules per kilogram of air mass, but Ghidorah's CAPE value for his Brazilian storm would likely be far higher. This is insane because a typical hurricane can expend as much energy as over 10,000 nuclear bombs during its lifetime, so Ghidorah's storms would likely release even far more energy. I'm not saying Ghidorah can one-shot life-wipe the earth or anything like that, but it is fair to say that the general energy output he's casually releasing would apply in some way to his attack potency, since it is revealed in the novels that his lightning-based attacks have the bottled-up energy of 100 storms. Which, if we took literally, we could multiply Ghidorah's energy output by 100 times, allowing him to release over 20,000 gigatons of energy, which would easily be within country levels of power. Godzilla would also scale from Jinshin Mushi, aka Muto Prime, who appeared in Godzilla Aftershock, who was able to create the largest earthquakes in history. So if Godzilla can harm and endure Ghidorah's attacks, that means that his attack potency and durability should be at least high country levels, but you could argue higher due to the feat of Godzilla carving through the earth to reach the hollow earth. And despite his large size, Godzilla's attack speed is easily high hypersonic, given a calc that I did by using the time frame it took for his atomic breath to reach the hollow earth. In terms of close quarters combat, he's pretty deadly, as he was able to one-shot a Muto with a swipe of his arm in the novel, and he has fought multiple other kaijus over millions of years, giving him a hefty amount of experience. He's able to push and overpower the female Muto, who weighs about 60,000 metric tons. His jaw is also strong enough to bite, lift, and throw the male Muto, who weighs about 15,000 tons. And his tail is also strong enough to slam the same Muto with enough force to impale it on a building. Although Godzilla was bested by Mechagodzilla and struggled with King Kong, it is worthy to mention that he was depowered to an extent in the battle, given that he expended a lot of energy drilling a hole through the hollow earth. But the point is, Monsterverse Godzilla easily has high country levels of attack potency and durability, and can fire high hypersonic speed attacks. You could also argue that his combat speed is on similar terms, meaning that he is able to keep up with King Ghidorah, who was able to dodge his atomic breath. But now, what does Final Wars Godzilla have in store for us in this battle? Well, this fool was hella savage, since he casually one-shotted Gigan with his atomic breath, one-shotted Zilla, and he even managed to slap multiple kaijus at the same time, even when they tried jumping him like he was in Detroit. Which means he's arguably superior in hand-to-hand combat to Legendary Godzilla. Don't get me wrong, Legendary Godzilla is good in throwing hands, but has he ever fought multiple kaijus at the same time in the same fashion as Final Wars Godzilla? Nope. He's super strong as he was able to lift and throw Kumonga hella far, who weighs about 30,000 metric tons. And while amped, he was also able to lift and throw Kaiser Ghidorah, who weighs 100,000 tons. While Legendary Godzilla was strong enough to physically brawl with King Ghidorah, who weighs over 140,000 tons, and tussle with Muto Prime, who also weighs a ton, He was able to lift and blast Muto Prime into the air using his atomic pulse, but through his mere physical strength, he hasn't been able to perform a feat like that. Base to base, I think Legendary Godzilla takes the physical power category, but in the amped versus amped matchup, I'd have to give it to Final Wars Godzilla due to how far he threw Kaiser Ghidorah, who he defeated with a Burning G Spark Heat Ray. In terms of attack potency, he may not seem as impressive as Legendary Godzilla, but if we take it as a fact that the Gorath asteroid could have wiped out the Earth as the movie implied, I mean, it wasn't really an asteroid, it was more like a ship. This means that if Final Wars Godzilla tanked it, it should arguably make it multi-continental to planetary, depending on how much damage you think Gorath would truly do to the planet. Which, granted, wasn't that crazy in the movie and didn't even destroy a city, but it is worth mentioning that Godzilla did extremely slow down his crash, and likely is a result for why the explosive damage wasn't as high as one might expect. Either way, there isn't much on screen that can be used to scale Final Wars' true attack potency and durability, but it is worthy to note that it is stated that Final Wars Godzilla could destroy the Earth if he wanted to. Whether it's in one shot or over time is up to interpretation. All in all, you could give Monsterverse Godzilla the edge here. In terms of combat speed and agility, the edge likely goes to Final Wars Godzilla due to how much more seamless his movements are and by how he's able to jump hundreds of meters into the air with ease. I have seen calcs putting Final Wars Godzilla's atomic breath at relativistic to light speeds, which does trump the massively hypersonic results that one can expect to get when calculating Legendary Godzilla's atomic breath speed. So the attack speed likely goes to Final Wars Godzilla. In terms of stamina, the edge likely goes to Legendary Godzilla, since even while drained of some of his power, he was able to fight Kong for about half a day. Although Final Wars Godzilla was able to slap multiple kaijus with ease and travel large distances without getting tired, he didn't fight Kaiser Ghidorah as long as Legendary Godzilla fought Kong, and he was already worn out. So Legendary Godzilla likely takes the edge here, since he fought someone relative to him for a longer period of time. Generally speaking, Final Wars Godzilla should have superior speeds, better combat attributes, and skill, but he would lack the stamina and experience that the other one has. So basically, one is a better, smarter, faster, less durable fighter, while the other one is more powerful, more durable, more experienced, and more chunky. Now, when it comes to author statements and promotional information, it is said in the Godzilla Final Wars Theater program that Kaiser Ghidorah is canonically the strongest Ghidorah iteration, which would put it above Heisei King Ghidorah, who is called a Planet Destroyer, and he'd also scale above Showa King Ghidorah, who was able to life wipe Venus in a day. So if Final Wars Godzilla was able to defeat this Kaiser Ghidorah, it means he would also scale above the power of Showa and Heisei King Ghidorah, who also scale higher than Monsterverse King Ghidorah, and by effect, Legendary Godzilla. If we go with this line of logic, then I would find it hard to see even an overcharged Legendary Godzilla damage him as well. In essence, if you want to go with feats and scaling, Monsterverse Godzilla likely takes the power and durability edge here, with potential arguments being made for Final Wars outscaling him, as I mentioned with the Gorath feat. But if we go with the promotional information, then Final Wars Godzilla definitely takes the edge here. I'd say that the win con for Final Wars Godzilla is to keep his distance and spam atomic breaths to try and wear down Legendary Godzilla. But if he does grapple with him, he should be able to fight back due to the strength feats. Legendary Godzilla, however, has enough combat experience and stamina to potentially outlast and outmaneuver Final Wars Godzilla. But yeah, there you guys have it. Which Godzilla do you think would take the W here? I hope you enjoyed this breakdown, and please let me know if you'd like to see more Godzilla videos down the line. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you thotties next time. Peace out.